Yes, no.
Hey, welcome to Cuddy's and Dan NFL Week 11 picks. I'm Cuddy Coastal. Obviously, Dan's not here. He's in quarantine. You know how this season go with COVID. Everything, nothing can be taken for granted. Nothing is guaranteed. But with that being said, we hope Dan feels better. Also, like, follow, and subscribe BS and Viewpoints on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Also, Blue Collar Comedy Gospel Hour and No Duck Studios. Dan, we hope you feel better soon. We're going to get off into the games. We're going to make this one quick, but I had to get it done. Oh, today we are actually not at No Duck in the Road Studios. We are in the House of Winston. So let's get it going. Week 11, the first game, Thursday night game, Arizona at Seattle. It ain't too much can be said. The last game went to overtime. They both had the ball, and Arizona ended up pulling it out. At the time, Seattle was undefeated. Seattle has a real suspect defense. Hey, this is a fantasy man's dream. Russell Wilson always puts up seemingly amazing numbers. It's just he's been having a few turnovers in the last few games, which I think he'll get that fixed. And Kyler Murray is also a fantasy phenom. D-Hop made an amazing catch last week to upset the Buffalo Bills. He went over like 3 people. That's how you know you got mossed. They definitely got mossed. So it is what it is. That being said, I'm thinking Seattle's lost a few games. Arizona's coming off a high one. I think Seattle's going to bring them right back down. I'm actually going to pick Seattle in this one for the simple fact I can't see Russell Wilson losing to the same team twice in the playoffs. I mean, twice in the regular season. And I just don't see he's going to lose it now. It is what it is. I got Russell Wilson peeling off a victory. He hasn't been looking great. His numbers have been pretty good, but his turnovers have been high. So I see him riding the strip and getting a victory. Next up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, the 3-5-1 Philadelphia Eagles against the 6-3 Cleveland Browns. It's in Cleveland, so but it's definitely. I'm definitely still shocked. Last week, I did not expect New York, which actually has a top 8 defense. New York probably statistically, if they had a better offense, would have a top 3 defense. Their defense is playing really good, but their offense, Danny Dimes, sometimes is turnover prone. Sometimes he doesn't do the right stuff, and sometimes you never know. He's hot and cold. He's just like a faucet, hot and cold. So you don't know what you're going to get with him. And I honestly thought that Philadelphia would take control of the NFC least division because they're still up top of the division at 3-5-1. That says a lot. 3-5-1, you lead your division. There are currently, last time I checked, 8 other franchises, actually 9 other franchises in the NFC that's not in that division with a better record. So, you know, the team that makes the playoffs will be a 4 seed and get a home game against a team with a far superior record than them. And as good as I think Philadelphia can be, I for some reason not putting it together. The defense doesn't seem to be gelling. The offense has had a lot of injuries, and they're just not moving the ball. I mean, I think Cleveland has a good enough defense. I also think this was going to be a shootout, weather not being a factor. And the weather could be a factor. The weather could also be a factor in the Seattle game. But it's cold and windy and rainy. And I think, Nick Chubb's back for Cleveland. So that whole Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, I got Cleveland winning this one. It's going to be close. But I think I got Cleveland pulling this one off. It's real, real hard. It's real, real hard. This is a really close game. Really close game. But I think most of Philadelphia's wins will come in the division. Maybe they'll beat Dallas. They'll beat Washington, get their revenge, and I can see them win 1 or 2 games. The winner of this division probably will have 6 games, have 6 wins. Because you got to think the leader is 3-5-1. 10 weeks into the season, it's only 6 games left. You go 3-3, more likely you win this division. That's how much of a dumpster fire it is. This is one of the worst divisions I've ever. This is probably the worst division I've ever seen in football all time. Because nobody has over 3 wins in week 11. In week 10, that doesn't happen. At least one team should be 4-6, but it's definitely not happening. So it's just very interesting. I don't even know what's wrong with the division. But moving forward, we got Atlanta at New Orleans. New Orleans had a huge injury this week. Drew Brees got some ribs, so you're starting Jameis Winston. Hey, say what you want about Jameis Winston, but that Bruce Arians offense that Jameis was told to run was going to be turnover prone. Why? Because Bruce Arians is an offensive guru who likes to push the ball down the field. When you push the ball down the field, high risk, high reward. But so he told Jameis, air it out. Jameis still threw for 5,000 yards. Sean Payton offense is a little different. You're gonna have Michael Thomas underneath, and he won't be throwing as many deep balls. You got Alvin Kamara. I can see Jameis being the actual replacement, just like I saw Teddy Two Gloves being the actual replacement for Drew Brees. But Teddy Two Gloves didn't want to wait. Got an offer to start in Carolina. Has moved forward, and I believe Jameis is going to be there apparent because I think this is Drew Brees last year, not this year, next. But I still be Atlanta's been looking good since the firing of Dan Quinn. I want to say they're playing 500 ball, but because they started off actually, I want to say they're 3-3. Yeah, they're playing 500 ball since then. But I got New Orleans winning this one. That's just even with Jameis, Kamara, that defense, it's gonna be a little much. But I mean, they're gonna put Lattimore and Janoris Jenkins out there, and I want to say Ridley's still hurt, so it's going to be tough for Atlanta. I think Atlanta is improving, but I just don't think they have enough. I think Sean Payton's going to get it, do the best he can to make the offense a little bit more manageable for Jameis. And Michael Thomas is back, so that really helps. You got to think they're 7-2, and Michael Thomas played maybe 2 games, and they're still finding ways to win. Alvin Kamara, Tre'Davion Smith, Emmanuel Sanders back from COVID, Jared Cook at the tight end. They got weapons. Throw Taysom Hill in there randomly. They got weapons, and they got a pretty stout defense. Next up, we got Cincinnati and Washington. And you can say what you want. Joe Burrow's pretty much already locked up Rookie of the Year. I don't care what their record looks like. He's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. I just don't. He's going to be in an AFC Rookie of the Year. I just don't see it any other way. He's looked great, even when they lost. They lost to Pittsburgh last week, but hey, it's a setback. It's the NFL. The reason why Cincinnati drafted first overall is because they weren't very good. And it just wasn't quarterback. You can't blame that on Dalton. A.J. Green was hurt last year. He's back now. They have a little bit more weapons. They got a Higgins. They got a A.J. Green, but Mixon still may be out. If you get a chance, Giovanni Bernard isn't a bad fantasy pickup at running back. It's that time of year. If you can pick him up and you get a chance to get him. They're playing Washington. Washington fought hard last week against Detroit. I did pick Detroit to win. Detroit did win. But Washington fought valiantly. Alex Smith looked pretty good in stretches. But with that being, they have a great defense. Washington has a great defense, but I think Joey Burrow's surgical, and I literally think surgical. And I believe he's going to be good enough with Giovanni Bernard. I can see them pulling off this victory. So I'm definitely taking Cincinnati Bengals over Washington at Washington. Hey man, Washington started Dwayne Haskins. Get him some more reps. Let those two Buckeyes go at it head to head. But it is what it is. If you don't do it, you don't do it. I just don't think Washington has enough on offense. Terry McLaurin is a dog. Gibson's been looking really good. Logan Thomas, former quarterback out of Virginia Tech's pretty good on Washington. But QB play and offensive line play is still suspect. Because Alex Smith did look good once he got in rhythm. But I still don't believe it to be enough. Next up, this is going to be a good game here. This is going to be a really good game. Detroit at Carolina. You can get Bridgewater. This might be a good team because I deem Detroit defense to be a little suspect. Look at what happened last week. They got up by a little bit. They were playing good ball. They got up, and then literally they got ran through and were actually losing at one point. Or they were actually tied at one point. The second half of that game, for the most part, Washington just moved the ball up and down the field. And that showed me something that I've already seen. Matt Patricia's defense not very good. They're just not. I don't really know how they get a great pass rush. Their linebackers aren't good. Well, and no matter how great your corners are, you can't leave your corners out there in that long and expect them to make some plays. And with that being said, this is easy. Teddy Two Gloves, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, maybe Christian McCaffrey. If not, you still got Mike Davis. That defense is pretty good. Detroit pretty good. I got this as a score fest, provided the weather holds up. Weather in Carolina, you never know what you're going to get. One day it's a tropical storm, next day it's 70 and sunny. So you got to take it for what it's worth. I believe this to be a shootout, and I also believe Carolina's going to pull this one off. Stafford looked good, though. Hawkinson's questionable, but that's always early in the week. And week 11, a lot of people are banged up, so they make you questionable because there is no more probable on your injury reports. It's either questionable or you're healthy. Or you're out. It's one of those three. So probable could just be, hey, they want to load management, get him some rest on a weekday because he plays a lot. And that can happen in the injury report. So with that being said, I still got Carolina. I believe Detroit does have enough on offense, but just not enough on defense. Matt Patricia's defense still terrible. I am happy to see them get wins, though, although I believe Jim Caldwell should still be there. Next up, we got Pittsburgh, the 9-0 Pittsburgh Steelers at the 1-8 Jacksonville. This one is about as close as you can get to a sure bet this week because I just don't see it. Jacksonville's still starting that rookie quarterback. He's looked good in spurts, but they haven't won since week one. They beat the Colts week one, have lost their last 8 games. Pittsburgh has looked really good, but sometimes you feel like that undefeated mark can get to your head and it can cause everything to go wrong. But I still like your Big Ben, your Chase Claypool. Maybe James Conner can get it back on track this week. So you got Big Ben, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, Eric Ebron. They got some weapons, and that defense is pretty good. But T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Joe Hay, Minka Fitzpatrick. They got a really good team. Pittsburgh's gonna make some noise this year, and I'm picking Pittsburgh easy. Jacksonville doesn't have enough. They won't have enough today. They wouldn't have enough tomorrow. Only way they would probably have enough to beat this team is they had the Jacksonville all-time team versus the Pittsburgh Steelers team. And even then, you would probably need a little bit. So I'm definitely going Pittsburgh. I just don't see them losing this week. Oh, next up, we got the slobber knocker. It is Tennessee at Baltimore. Baltimore's look shaky. They look really good. It makes it interesting. Tennessee's look real shaky. They shocked me some games. Cincinnati gave them that work, but they're 6-3. Baltimore's also 6-3. And this is a preview. This is a rematch for last year's playoff game, which Tennessee dominated with the simple formula: we're gonna run the ball and we're gonna play action. And with that being said, although I believe Baltimore pass offense to be inept. Maybe this is the game they get it going. But this is one of my upset sleepers of the week. Derrick Henry, that backup running back they got, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith. I believe they got enough. Even though it's in Baltimore, I'm going to take Tennessee over Baltimore. Baltimore don't really move. If you stop the run, it is what it is. Lamar Jackson, maybe he's regressed as a passer. Maybe they're not calling the plays, but they're not getting the big chunk plays that they used to get. Play action, hit Mark Andrews. Play action, hit Hollywood Brown. They're not really getting those. They're throwing 200 yards a game. You're throwing 200 yards a game, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. A lot of teams are averaging 280, 290, over 300, and you're one of the lower tier teams. You're in the bottom 4 at passing yards at 6-3 because you have a good defense. And because you got a really good defense and you got a really good running game. Well, Lamar Jackson's part of that running game. But you don't want him to take too many hits, and you got to start airing that ball out. Hollywood Brown's got to make some plays. He's been real absent all year. I just don't see it. Mark Ingram's back. You got a 3-headed monster with Ingram, Gus Edwards, and J.K. Dobbins. I just don't see it. You got to hit your tight end, Mark Andrews. You got to hit him. You got to hit Hollywood Brown. You got to work them in, and they're just not getting in, i.e. 200 passing yards a game. I'm taking Tennessee. Tennessee, don't let me down. You're 6-3. I got you going 7-3. Next up, we got New England at Houston. This is the dome game, but this is interesting. It's going to be an interesting game. A lot of people acting like New England could win at 4-5. I just don't. Offensively, I don't see it. They barely beat the Jets. They've just been on a luck schedule-wise, but I just don't see it. It's almost like a pick 'em. But I think Deshaun Watson with Brandon Cooks and Fuller, and I just believe they got enough. I want to say Duke Johnson's playing at running back now. I just believe Deshaun Watson is the better of the two quarterbacks between him and Cam Newton. Damon Harris is also a real good pickup. He had a little off week because you never know what the Patriots is going to do with their backfield. And last week, had over 100 yards. Maybe he's a get in fantasy if you really need a running back. And, let's say you got Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler, and you really can't play either of those because they hurt. But, if you cut them, somebody picks them up. And they play towards the playoff time, it's over. So you got to kind of bench those guys and maybe find a space. Damon Harris isn't a bad running option at running back. Neither is Duke Johnson if you can get them. But it's simple, man. No matter what the people tell you, I just don't think offensively, New England has enough. You're not playing the Jets. You barely squeaked by the Jets. You were losing by 10 to the Jets. That says a lot. You're 4-5. That's like Cam Belichick magic. It's not going to keep happening. I got them losing. They'll be drafted in the top 10. Tom Brady will look like the man because after everything's said and done, Tom Brady will get the last laugh because Tampa Bay's going to go to the playoffs and the Patriots probably will not. Next up, Miami Dolphins at Denver Broncos. This is an interesting pick right here. Tua is 3-0, but you in Denver. The weather is cold in Denver. Mile high make it a little bit harder to breathe in Denver. But Miami has a great defense. And I just don't think Denver has a lot on offense. You got Locke, Phillip Lindsay, Melvin Gordon, Tim Patrick. You got weapons. Is it Ruggs or Judy? Judy. It's Judy. You got Judy out there. I mean, you got good players. Yeah, you definitely got Jerry Judy. It's not like Jerry Judy's actually the lead receiver. I'm sorry, but I just don't see it. I just can't see Denver winning. It's not that Denver's not a good team. It's just that Miami has a top 5 defense. Yes, they do. They have a top 5. They have the number 1 scoring defense. It's hard to score on them. Ask Arizona. It's hard to score. So I just don't believe offensively they have enough. Tua with Devontae Parker. I want to say Ballage because Gaskin's hurt. He's going to be their new running back. So if you can pick him up, pick him up. He's going to be a good, or Ballage, he's going to be a good running back. I'm going to take Miami. Simple. Miami at Denver. It's going to be a harder thing than you can imagine to just do the mile high and them not being in the warm confines of Miami. But it's in totality, it's a super easy pick because that defense travels everywhere. And I believe it's going to be able to travel everywhere. Next up, we got the New York Jets, the winless New York Jets versus the Los Angeles Chargers. What can I say, man? Adam Gase, dumpster fire, 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. I'm still shocked this man got a job. He's 0 for 9. You mean to tell me you had 9 chances to get 1 win and you're still 0 for 9? Well, he's probably going to be 0 for 10 this week, and I'm still shocked to get a job. The last thing he's done proper was let Peyton Manning just run the offense and then kind of get credit for it. That's how he got his job in Miami. Then what did he do? He almost derailed Ryan Tannehill's career. Ryan Tannehill's looked like a completely different quarterback since he left Adam Gase. And so will Sam Darnold. I was pushing that train last week. I'm pushing it again. Chicago Bears, anybody who needs a good quarterback, go ahead and draft Sam Darnold. Get him some weapons. Because all he really has is Jamison Crowder. If you can get him, get him. He is a phenom. He is a darling at wide receiver. But he is there, other than Sam Darnold, he is their just about only bright spot on offense. You got old man Frank Gore still getting it in. He's gonna get it how he live it. You got Perrine, or you got a Perrine brother. He's doing pretty good as a running back. Him and Frank Gore split carries. That's about it. And look who you're playing. I just don't see them having enough to beat the Chargers. Herbert been looking amazing. He may be offensive rookie of the year when it's all said and done. I'm sorry, Burrow, but I gotta call it how I see it because he's also looked phenomenal. But he only has 2 victories. So as good as he looked, and as much as he makes it happen, who knows? Also, if you can get Justin Jackson, Joshua Kelly, because Austin Eckler's still not back either. So Kelly he leads the team in rushing. Nobody's probably getting Keenan Allen. If you're in the league with Keenan Allen free for the Los Angeles Chargers, I don't know what your league's really doing. But with that being said, Sam Darnold's there. Crowder's there. Crowder's only played in 4 or 5 games and still leads their team in rushing, and they're on 9. That says a lot. He's only played 5 games and leads your team in rushing. He's only played in 55% of the games and leads your team in receiving. I'm sorry. 55% of the games. That means nobody else is getting off. It's just him. One-man army. Him and Sam Darnold. And I'm not even sure if Sam Darnold's playing. Flacco. You might have Flacco back there. Some people call him Fluco. Some people say Flacco. I'm going to say Flacco today. But I got the Chargers winning. I just can't. Adam Gase going to be 0-10. I mean, you can do him a favor, New York Jets. You can do him a favor and actually let him wait till after the season before you fire him. But you should probably just clear your books now and fire him. and just let it be done. Just let him know that you're not coming back. Not a chance. It's one thing that's gonna happen. You won't be back next year, and you literally got to start over from scratch because it looks like the Jets are in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. But hey, they win a game or two, then you put Jacksonville in there. You win 3 games, and maybe you put Dallas in there. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, 1 and 2. Penei Sewell in the top 3 as well. In my opinion, he's the number 1 overall talent, but he's a left tackle. Do you need a left tackle? Do you really want to take a left tackle over a quarterback? Most people are always going to take the fancier position because quarterback's important, but left tackle is important. Make no mistake about it. If the quarterback has time, he can do amazing things. Look at Jared Goff. He got this tackle from the Cincinnati Bengal Whitworth. Jared Goff looked like a potential complete bust. He got Whitworth and some better offensive linemen with Todd Gurley, some good receivers. Jared Goff looked a lot better. Sometimes it's offensive line, sometimes it's not the quarterback. But everybody wants to give up on Sam Darnold. So go ahead and draft Trevor Lawrence. If you don't give him offensive line, he's going to look very similar to Sam Darnold. And it is what it is. You need a team. Football is a game, but it's 11 on 11. You need a whole 10 other players on the same page as you on offense and 11 other players on the same page as you as defense. It's just not one person. One person can make a difference either way. If you got a terrible left tackle and he's giving up 5 or 6 sacks in a game and looking terrible and getting holding penalties, then of course you're not going to look good. No matter how you got Tom Brady. You got Tom Brady when he didn't win a Super Bowl for a long time. Their offensive line coach, who has since retired and left again, had retired before, and Belichick called and begged him to come back. Why? Because Tom Brady was taking a beating. When you don't have a good offensive line, you can have a GOAT or an all-time great quarterback. And if you consistently get hit, it doesn't matter because you can't, no matter how fast you get hit, no matter how fast you try to get rid of the ball, if you're getting hit consistently, it'll do something to you. You'll start looking like a deer in headlights. You'll start seeing ghosts back there. And that's not what you want. You don't want to be seeing ghosts. And I thought for a while there, Tom Brady was seeing ghosts. And they got the offensive line coach back, but since retired, and they started looking really good. And once that offense got to humming, then Tom Brady could take his time. He could throw the ball really fast. And every once in a while, he'll hit you for, a nice little over your down the field play. But, his thing has always been accuracy, not arm strength. But that's a whole other topic. We'll pick them when we get a chance to pick them. But, yeah, I'm definitely taking the Chargers over the Jets. I just don't see it with the Jets. I don't see it. Won't see it. Adam Gase, I'm still shocked. I'm shocked you got a job. Let's just call it what it is. I'm very shocked you got a job. Next up, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Indianapolis Colts. This one probably works a little bit in Green Bay favors in Indianapolis, so you ain't got to worry about that weather. You got to worry about that weather. Aaron Rodgers has looked amazing, to say the least. You got Adam Jones, Jamal Williams, two-headed monster back there. You got Devontae Adams. Look at that, man. You got Scantling came back and caught a big play. Lazard's there. They have weapons, and they have a decent defense. I would really like to see Jair Alexander see what he can come back and do. But Phillip Rivers is a crapshoot. Like I said, Phillip Rivers, 4 or 5 games a year has amazing numbers. 4 or 5 games a year has terrible numbers. And then he just has those games. It's just, that's it. And you never know when they're going to pop up. It could pop up this week. It could not pop up this week. So, for me, this is an easy pick. I'm going with Green Bay. Indianapolis has a great defense. I believe Aaron Rodgers to figure it out. The only thing that could derail that is if Aaron Rodgers just gets ridiculously pressured. That could happen. He could have a bad game. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna do enough with the Colts. Because let's just face it, Devontae Adams is a nightmare. And then when you got him, you got Valdez Scantling, you got Lazard, you got the tight end Tonyan, and you got the two-headed monster. If they can protect him and keep him clean, they're going to just outscore you. And they have a better defense in Seattle. They're just going to outscore you, and I just don't see them losing today. I don't see them losing. So I'm taking Green Bay. Indianapolis, I love you, but this one ain't for you. And that's just the way it goes. You can't win every week. Next up, we got the Minnesota Vikings, the surging Minnesota Vikings. They're actually Minnesota. Dallas is actually coming to Minnesota. This is going to be the game. This is going to be a game because a few weeks ago, I got relatives who are Minnesota and Dallas fans, and they was talking like, "Oh, both our teams both suck, this, that, and the other." Well, no. Minnesota's 4-5. They won a lot of their. They beat Chicago. They did a number on Green Bay. They're making strides in the right direction. And with 7 games to go, you can effectively say maybe they can win 6 or 7, go 10-6. That's playoffs. It's 7 seeds now. It's just not 6. So you get 10-6, you can probably just about guarantee yourself a playoff spot. And they might be there to do it. Dallas just looks. Last week it was putrid. This week is inept. Last week was putrid and inept. Just look awful. That's the word I'm gonna use today for this. Awful. You're not. Dak's still hurt. You're not sure. Andy Dalton's supposed to come back, but it doesn't help that offensive line. Offensive line is just awful. No fight, no love. They're still learning too much. I believe Minnesota with Jefferson, Thielen, Cook, Rudolph, Ish out there, Smith. They got a lot, and Cook's just been cutting them up. So when the defense is already struggling, playing probably the number one running back right now, it might get carved up. This might get bad real fast. It might get bad real fast. Might be over at halftime. They might call off the dogs. Put Madison and put the backup running back in. Put him in. Dalvin Cook already got 3 touchdowns first half. They could get that ugly. Because Dallas, they have been showing fight, though. I will give them credit. They have been showing fight. Still been losing. You got to generate offense to win. You're not scoring on defense, and you're still giving up points on defense, but you're not scoring on offense. So maybe Mike McCarthy during the bye week will install some new things to get them going, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And Trevon Diggs, their number one corner, is on the IR. So you got your backup, you got your second corner going to play the number one corner who already couldn't hold a second receiver. Now you're going to put him on Thielen? It's going to get ugly quick. It's going to get ugly quick. I feel sorry. I said Ish. I'm sorry. It's Irv Smith Jr. My fault. Don't take no offense to it, Irv. It's all good, brother. But I got Dallas not winning this one because I don't know if Dallas will win another game this year. Minnesota, you're going to overpower them. It's going to look bad. Sorry, Dominique. Dante's team about to crush yours. Take it for what you want. Next up, we got Kansas City at the Las Vegas Raiders. This one, earlier in the year, Kansas City undefeated. Their only loss came to the Las Vegas Raiders. And they made Pat Mahomes look human, They over there, they got Ruggs, they got Nelson Aguilar, they got Josh Jacobs, they got Waller, who's a top tight end, and slowly a top tight end. But I believe revenge is on their minds. Kansas City, this is the only game they lost. And I believe they looking at it like, hey, this is that time. This is that time. This that revenge. Travis Kelce's their leading receiver. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins is back. You still got Hardeman, Robinson. Robinson. They can scout weapons. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell. I believe they're gonna take this one serious. I believe they literally had this one circled. Circle. And that being said, as much as I love the Las Vegas Raiders, this one ain't for you. Pat Mahomes is going to light you up because he's been on a mission. He's had a few subpar games midseason, and he decided, hey, these subpar games, I know what to do. I'm going to turn it up on them. I'm going to show them who they messing with. They messing with a former MVP / Super Bowl champion / Super Bowl MVP. I'm about to show them what they working with. This is going to be easy. Kansas City going to carry y'all up like butter. I said what I said. Kansas City. Is this one if it wasn't a division game, I'd call this one a blowout. But it's a division game, so you can never put that on them. But I got them winning. That's a Sunday night game. I got Kansas City. It's gonna be some fireworks in there. You can get it ready. Next up, we got the Monday night game. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Rams versus Tampa Bay. This is gonna be a game. We talked about Jared Goff and Tom Brady earlier, but this is the interesting thing that I would tell people to keep out for. is what's gonna happen? Is Mopet gonna be there? He's the one of the best guards in the game, but he's gonna go up against Aaron Donald. Is he gonna be there? Is he gonna go up against Brockers? Is that offensive line of Tampa Bay gonna be able to keep Tampa Tom clean? If Aaron Donald just dominates and just constantly causes pressure, the games that they lost, Tampa Bay's lost 3 games. They lost to New Orleans twice in Chicago. What happened? They got dominated up front. And what is the Rams the best at? They got a great defense, but they're best at dominating you up front with Aaron Darnold, who's a top 2 player. I got him and Pat Mahomes. I got Pat Mahomes and Aaron Darnold. I just believe quarterback is more important than defensive line. Although I'm a former defensive lineman, but I just know what a quarterback, when he got weapons, can do. That's the matchup. Offensive line, Tampa Bay. Defensive line of Los Angeles Rams. It's gonna be simple. And that defense, it's gonna be interesting because Jared Goff's gonna actually have some time to throw the ball because their cornerbacks, Tampa Bay's biggest weakness is their cornerbacks are still suspect. Dean and company, they're not hitting that. They look good. Their safeties look good. Winfield Jr.'s back there, and their front 7 definitely looks good. But you got to have a weak point on defense. Their weakest point is their corners. They're not necessarily overall super weak because they're good corners. But when you have that pass rush and you blitz and you leave them on the island, they're going to get beat one-on-one. So that's the matchup. But I believe after that last loss to New Orleans, it looked like last week they said, hey, we're going to do what we need to do. We're going to go back to what we need to go back to, meaning we're going to do a little bit more of what Tom Brady likes, meaning we're going to throw the ball underneath and then hit you over the top. We're not just going to try to keep hitting you over the top like Bruce Arians like. We're gonna throw some rub routes and some drags, and we're going to hit Gronk in the seam. And then we get down there, and we're going to space you out. We're going to put one receiver on this side by itself. And it's going to be Mike Evans, and he's 6'5". And we're going to have you put your 5'10" corner on Mike Evans. We're going to jump ball to Mike Evans, let him catch his touchdown, call it a day. And that's what I think they're going to do. They're going to do a lot more of that. I got Tampa Bay winning. It's going to be easy. And I got them winning right before the bye. They play Monday night. They got a bye week 12. I got them winning. And it is what it is. As much as I think Jared Goff's going to look good with Kupp and company, I just don't. Henderson Jr. at running back, they're gonna make some waves, but I think it's gonna be it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a close game. But I just don't see them winning. And I've seen some people this week. I was cracking up laughing. People in fantasy, when you playing these teams that have 2 running backs, you don't know what to do. Like Tampa Bay, I've seen people start. Me and my friend Snuck was talking about this. Big shout out to Snuck. He hates me picking against Dallas, and so does Javar. But it is what it is, brothers. Do what you do. I make my picks. I stand by them. You stand by it. You know y'all losing. I just tell the truth. I ain't afraid to put my name on them. But Rojo, Ronald Jones, people are starting Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette in their backfield because they don't know who to start because that's the issues they have. They just want one of them to get off, and it is what it is. And fantasy is a confusing time. There's usually a lot of running backs by committee. But if you can get either one of those guys, they're a crapshoot to start. But if you start one of them and they hot, Ronald Jones last week, 98-yard touchdown run, some amazing fantasy points. PPR league, that's winning. But I'm going to take Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers over the Los Angeles Rams. And people always ask me, well, how did you pick last week? Last week I went 12-0. I never lose. I never lose. If I pick, it's a winner. If not, you heard it wrong. Put your money down how you get down. And remember, in the words of somebody I know, Prophet Mahmoud, I was blessed with a day called Today. That being said, have a good one. I'm Cuddy Coastal. Follow and subscribe on BSN Viewpoints. See you later, alligator. And a wild crocodile. And I'm out. All right.